Maybe you should go and do some contemplating.
Right reasons, right reasons. Being pretty girl for all of the right reasons. Right reasons, right reasons. Being pretty girl for all 4 seasons.
I'm the Bachelorette and I'm rapping to your poolside. Here to find true love. One man.
Hi, this is Rachel McElroy.
Love lifts us up where we belong. I'm feeling it, baby. The dream is alive.
Oh, you are a remarkable actor.
It's here, baby. It's love day. This whole time I have to be so reserved, but here on Bachelor or Bachelorette finale day, I can finally celebrate my love for you, Rachel. It's alive, and now I have the example to follow. I love you.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Griffin McElroy.
And this is Rose Buddies.
It's Bachelor, Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise podcast.
It is just that.
I said Bachelorette,
I let it slide.
and that's why I love you. Love lifts us up where we belong. We just watched a fucking 4.5 day long finale. It was like Roots.
In a lot of ways that we probably shouldn't get into.
It was such a fucking slog through the desert, but the desert was also a swamp. It was so rough and tumble. I didn't even watch half the fucking thing.
Yeah.
And it was a hard watch. And I know you're saying, Griffin, you do a Bachelorette podcast. And I say to you in response to that, for my friends?
Yeah, Griffin, hey, what'd you cook tonight?
Oh, what did I make? First of all, I'm on this baking kick because I've been watching Paul Hollywood. I'm following him, following in his footsteps, because where there's one pair of footsteps, that's where Paul Hollywood carried me on the beach, and he fed me scones. I've started baking, so I baked all of my friends and you soft pretzels. And I don't want to brag or anything, but they were completely fucking baller.
You remember last week where I said that one of my love languages was soft pretzels?
Yeah, well, let's just say I speak that shit.
Griffin parlez-vous pretzels.
What else did I make for everybody, though? Because you can't make a dinner and it's soft pretzels.
Yeah, that's not a dinner.
You gotta have a protein. How about some schnitzel?
Oh my gosh. That...
Let me check the waves on that. Let me just do it one more time.
Sound waves on that?
I'm looking at the sound waves now. Schnitzel.
Oh, that's so unpleasant.
I made Jaeger schnitzel for all my friends.
Do you want to say what that is?
It's like a schnitzel with like a mushroom and onion gravy on top of it.
It's like a breaded pork cutlet.
It's fucking amazing. Yeah, I made that, and it took a very, very long time to prepare it, and so I skipped, I would say, the boring part of the episode, but then I came in, and it was still the boring part of the episode finale.
Yeah,
Oops.
so I'll tell you what happened, and then you can...
I was following along.
You can have those fresh reactions.
We also had like 14 people at our house tonight. It was very, very woke. Very, very lit.
Yeah, we had 2 friends arrive in evening gowns, which I really appreciated.
Thank you to Anna and Nicole. You really made the evening special. Thanks to Steffi, too, who made a peach cobbler that was out of this fucking
with
world.
homemade blueberry ice cream.
It was unbelievable. So much love went into the preparation of the feast tonight.
It's a big night.
Anyway, let's dive right into it. Tell me what happened in this love parade and also love school. It was part parade, part school.
Love school.
Oh, baby, you got to warn me when you're going to sing so I can come in and harmonize with you.
You got to be ready.
Okay.
There's only 2 words to that song.
No, it's true. That was the Kinks' seminal but very, very short hit. Love school.
No, I was thinking of Surf School. Wasn't that like a trailer we saw at one point?
Probably. Hey, what happened on The Bachelorette
Okay.
tonight's 3-hour-long fucking
Oh, should we
episode?
hurry maybe because there's 3 hours of material to cover?
Honest to God, I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb. We'll be done at 45 minutes because I don't
Griffin,
think there's that
you
much to
always
talk
say
about.
that, and
All
we
right,
always
let's get into
okay.
it.
All right. So we start out. JoJo's family has come to Thailand to meet her 2 remaining suitors.
Run down on the family again. The mom, so dope. Slammed that bottle of wine last season. Was
Mom,
a national hero.
Dad, brothers, and sister.
Sister did not get a lot of screen time. The brothers were the brothers who were very
brothers
protective to the
Did
point
not
of...
get as much screen time
They didn't get very
as I was
rowdy.
anticipating either.
They didn't get rowdy, did they?
I know, because they went hard on Ben, and I thought, oh, this is going to be good. And not much of anything. They
Well,
must
if
have...
it had been anything, we would have known about it fucking 6 episodes ago.
Yeah, they must have learned their lesson from that first foray into television.
Yeah.
So JoJo tells the family that she is in love with both Jordan and Robbie, but that they don't know it yet.
To this point, she's also not told those boys that she's in love with them, going against what Benjamin did in the last season, breaking her heart.
So Jordan's up first and meets the fam, tells the fam that he was a skeptic, but that he's really come to care for JoJo. Mom thinks that he came across as genuine.
That's
he
a
said
first.
that, yeah. Then Jordan brings gifts, which are just silly hats.
Oh man, I missed that, and I'm glad. It's some of the stuff I'm kind of glad I missed.
He said something like, "Oh, his family has fun, and this is like a way to kind of break the tension." So he brought everybody a funny hat to wear at the table.
What were they like? Can you describe these funny ass hats to me?
I mean,
Did one of them have like boobs on it or something?
no.
But then like Jamiroquai?
There was like a black cowboy hat that said Thailand on it that he gave it to JoJo's dad. And then JoJo's mom got like a pink and white floppy hat. I mean, it wasn't like laugh out loud funny.
It was sort of a thinker then.
Yeah. You know Jordan. He's
it's
an intellectual.
Yeah, sure.
And so Jordan tells us that it's been 6 years since he's met a girl's family. And then he sits down with the mom, and the mom says, JoJo has trust issues. Will you promise not to break her heart? And Jordan promises.
Nice of him.
And then the mom tells us that he seems like kind of a playboy.
Well, is that just based on his looks? Because that's racism.
Well, so he's very likable. And when the mom's talking to JoJo, she's like, I'm worried you're too much alike. And JoJo's like, who doesn't like Jordan? And mom's like, that's the problem. Who doesn't like Jordan? Like, he's too
A lot of people
likable.
in the Rose Buddies Facebook group do not like Jordan, just based on sort of the reaction thread tonight.
Yeah, so the mom thinks he's too slick. He's too polished. He's like too smooth.
By the time the like proper 2-hour episode ended, there were like 2,000 comments on the live discussion
I
thread.
heard that.
And most of them were just like, ugh.
About both guys or just Jordan?
I think both guys. I think it was kind of a crop of stinkers here at the end, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, well, the guys seemed very polished, you know? Like, not polished in like they're naturally polished dudes, but like polished in that they knew the formula, they knew how this was supposed to work, they understood what the game was, and they were playing it.
I would argue that one of them was polished and the others were Michael Keaton Multiplicity slime clones of that one identikit.
Yeah. So the family doesn't seem like anti-Jordan, but they don't seem excited about him. And so Jordan sits down with the dad, but he doesn't ask the dad for permission to marry JoJo.
This is fucking unprecedented.
Which becomes a big, big deal.
I'm surprised that this wasn't like a bigger deal before this episode happened. Because that's like, seriously, that don't happen.
Yeah, so, I mean, this will come up again later, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But there are a lot of reasons that a person could say, I didn't ask for your dad's permission. Because
Reasons like, I've known you 6 fucking weeks?
And also reasons like you're an adult woman, and I know that you don't require your father to agree
That
to
ain't
this
how this
union.
show operates, though.
I know, but I mean, it's a valid reason that somebody someday on this show could give.
Oh, absolutely, but not now. Not this time. Not this time.
Yeah.
I'm as progressive vis-a-vis that subject as it comes, but like it's literally not happened in the show. It hasn't happened in the show.
Yeah. And the thing that surprised me, and we mentioned this earlier, the brothers never get their hands on Jordan. I thought
They
for
don't
sure
get their hands dirty.
they would spend a lot of time really leaning on Jordan because they leaned on Ben so hard. And Ben was like as white bread as they come.
When they came at Ben, if memory serves, it's because they read a lot of stuff in the Bloids, and they wanted to hit him up about this Bloid fodder. And God knows there's plenty of stuff about
Jordan, yeah.
JoJo in the Bloids.
I don't know. I mean, they probably did sit down with him, but it must not have been meaty content because it did not get shown. And then it's Robbie's turn.
How'd that go?
So Robbie shows up. Robbie has really leaned hard, and I think the producers have kind of embraced this. Robbie is the candidate who will tell you everything you could possibly hear from somebody that supposedly is in love with you after 2 months. Like he checks all the boxes. He covers all his bases.
To the point where, like, if you've gone through and checked everything that a person who has made it to the final two has said in the history of the show, like, he throws a lot of love spaghetti at the wall.
Yeah. So he tells us, the viewer, like, before he's even out of his little vehicle, that he's excited to ask for her father's blessing, that he's been thinking about this the whole time since he fell in love with her. So already a strong contrast to Jordan. So Robbie shows up, meets the family. The family has heard about his entrance, which I had forgotten, but he's the one that showed up with the wine bottle that they both took swigs directly out of the bottle from.
That's fine.
No, it was just,
Luke came up on a unicorn.
I know, but remember how it was kind of a play on how they do things in the Fletcher house? Because her mom was a big wine bottle drinker.
Yeah, I mean, that was fun. I mean, if you diss the mom to the face, like, as soon as you meet her, that's like a totally sick move. I like that a lot. That's not a diss, though. That's one of the best things I've ever seen on a reality show before, because it was so fucking real and good.
Yeah. So the mom tells us that she thinks that he's a gentleman. And he tells the story about when they were on the cliff together, and that later that night he decided to say that he loved her.
What? I don't remember a cliff.
They jumped off the cliff together. Do you remember? They were both standing on this cliff. And we were like, this looks really dangerous. No. And they both jump off.
Nope. I'm sorry, Robert. Robert, I'm sorry, my boy. I don't remember your beautiful story, my friend.
Oh.
Did they go on the Choose Your Own Adventure date? That might go down as the only date I remember from this season, because it was the most ill-conceived of the dates. I think that might have been Shaw's, actually.
Yeah, I think that was Chase.
You're right, that was Chase. That was before the Shaw's transformation happened.
So he tells the story. He's very open, like, hey, I told her I was in love with her really early. And JoJo's like, yeah, he's always been really honest with me. And then after he's done meeting the family, the brothers say that, oh, Robbie's a great guy. The whole family is kind of like, Robbie seems more ready, to get married, to take that next step. And the brothers make the point, because JoJo's like, well, but I love both of them. And with Jordan, it's really fun. And then one of the brothers says, you're not picking someone to be your New Year's Eve date. Which I thought was kind of a nice, sick burn,
Yeah, kind of a nice burn on your family member who's trying to decide who to marry. I dialed in for, like, the summary of the family of the two, and everybody was so, like, transparently pro-Robbie and anti-Jordan. Talking about how Jordan just didn't seem like he was ready to commit, and Robbie was obviously, like, totally ready to commit, which, yes, that has been sort of the thing of the whole season.
Well, I'm part of that, and I left this out a moment ago. So Robbie does ask Dr. Fletcher's permission.
Yeah.
And says, your daughter will be my number one priority. She's the biggest thing in my life. And asks for permission. And after it's over, the dad gets really emotional and cries a little bit and tells JoJo that was a really special moment for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody's like, oh, it's not that we don't like Jordan. It's just that Robbie's more husband material.
And but they do let her know, like, Jordan just doesn't seem like he's ready.
And this is when JoJo finds out that Jordan didn't ask permission.
Right, and JoJo gets very upset and says, okay, well, it sounds like all of you are a no for Jordan and a yes for Robbie. And everybody simultaneously goes, no. Way to fucking stick to your guns, Fletcher fam.
Well, because JoJo starts to get really upset. Like, you can tell that she's just, like, devastated.
And in that moment, if you don't know who's going to win the fucking show.
I know.
Everybody in her family is like, Jordan's not the right one. Robbie's way, way more into you. Beans. Okay, then yes, Jordan. Oh, good.
Yeah, she's like, oh, but if I picked Robbie, then I would always wonder what would have happened with Jordan. And if I picked Jordan, then, I would always wonder if I should have made the other.
That's actually not how the comparison went. The comparison went, if I pick Robbie, I'll always wonder what it could have been like with Jordan. And if I pick Jordan and it goes bad, then I'll always worry what happened to Robbie.
Oh, did she say and it goes bad? Wow.
So it's like, then like that sort of, the language that you just used sort of intimates that you think by default it's going to go good with Jordan.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be so much more...
I mean, we all knew this, right? Like, Robbie caught everybody off guard.
Except I didn't, because Jordan Roger, it's beyond belief that JoJo would go on this show to not be the next Bachelor.
With JoJo?
With JoJo. It's just, I can't believe it. I you know what? I'll be the first to say, like, I was wrong. I was into it by the end of it, but, like, I'm flabbergasted at how it happened.
Maybe you were wrong about Jordan.
I think I was wrong about Jordan and JoJo, to be fair. But anyway, let's get to that.
I will say the one fun thing, too, about JoJo's dad is that his name is Joe.
Oh.
So father, just to recap, father is named Joe, daughter is named Joelle.
JoJo for short, which must have been like
JoJo.
confusing in their household, because if they said JoJo's name with a slight pause in there,
Yeah,
that
right?
would just
Like,
get very-
hey, Joe.
Joe. Is there one with 3 Joes?
I don't know.
The dog is named Joe.
Okay, so that's the end of the family meeting. And now we're back on a beach in Thailand. And JoJo is meeting Robbie for their last one-on-one date. And they're just going to have a beach day.
I'm so tired, baby.
I know, I can tell. I really need you to spark
trying.
up.
It's just this show went so long. Chris Harrison, why'd you make this show go 3 hours?
You can't blame Chris Harrison. He's hardly in it.
He was in it a lot tonight because
He
of the
was.
final rose.
He was. I should mention on this last episode, they're airing it simultaneously with a live studio audience in like a theater. And so after every key moment, they'll cut back to Chris Harrison and he'll be like, wow.
Wow.
And then sometimes the audience will clap.
I think the reason I'm so tired and drained is I know that there's an episode of Bachelor in Paradise tomorrow.
I know.
And in a 25-hour-long span, we will spend 5 of those hours watching Bachelor products.
Oh, is Bachelor in Paradise 2 hours?
It's gotta be. There's no way it's just relegated to 1. We're lucky if it's not fucking 3. Chris Harrison knows he can do it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm looking at Rachel like we both have a look of just complete exhaustion on our faces.
You know what it reminds me of Solitary, except our solitary prison is just watching a reality show and they just keep making it longer and we just keep agreeing to it with like...
I mean, that's the thing. If they said next week, an 8-hour-long episode of... Like, you and I would look at each other with grim determination and say, like, okay.
8 hours. I guess I could call in sick.
I'll get some diapers. Well, you like that. That would take a lot of soft pretzels, man.
Oh my god.
Anyway, date time.
Anyway, Robbie time. I'm trying to think of anything notable.
Nothing, dude. That's what I'm saying.
There's a moment. So they're on the beach together, and JoJo wants to hear about what he thinks their life together is going to be like. And this is when Robbie goes into this incredibly detailed description, but like detailed in a way that it's like not even cute anymore. Because he starts out and he's like, I see us just sitting on the most comfortable living room sofa. And then he goes on to...
sounds... So far, that's 100% A+ from Griffin McElroy. That sounds dope.
And then he goes on to describe, that they're making dinner, and it's meatloaf, and there's kids.
You could have picked a more boring, like, shitty meal.
And specifically the type of white wine that they're drinking. And then he references what he calls a bonus room that'll be like off the kitchen.
What is this playhouse that he's designed?
It's kind of detailed in a way that I think he thought would maybe be cute, but it becomes uncomfortable to listen to.
I want to get loaded drunk on white wine. I want to cook a meatloaf bad. I want to sit on my fancy couch in our bonus room that I had built for all my action figures to go in.
Wait, now who are we describing?
Robinson.
You think he has action figures?
I think he has lots of them.
Yeah. I don't think he has any interests or hobbies.
I think he has the matte texture of a G.I. Joe man, but an older one from the 50s. Not like one of the A1s from the 80s. Like
somebody in the Rose Buddies groups said that he reminded them of the Ken doll in Toy Story, which I appreciated. I thought that was a pretty apt comparison.
It's just not. I think he's a handsome dude, but I think his hair looks like it could just snap off. And he's got perfectly featureless skin. And I think a lot of people like that.
Remember all those weeks ago when we were looking at his bio and I got so excited because his favorite flower was honeysuckle?
I kind of remember that. Like, fuck, dude, the premiere of this show, and I remember being so excited about some of these boys, and Robbie was one of them.
Yeah,
because I remember thinking
he was snowflake,
sweet, funny, like a little snowflake of a man. By the way, do you know when this season premiered?
3 years ago.
Guess genuinely the date.
I mean, okay, let me think. May?
Yeah, it was May.
Yeah.
It's unimaginable that it didn't start in at least February.
You mean January?
January 14th, Valentine's Day.
Oh, God. What would we do if it was on Valentine's Day? We would stay home and we would watch it.
Yep. What if it's on Christmas, homie? What if it's the day that our child is born into this world?
Yeah.
It's just you.
It'll be on in the delivery room. I'll be furiously taking notes. Okay. So JoJo says, "I trust you so much," to Robbie. And the phrasing of "I trust you so much," we all thought was kind of funny.
It's very good.
Like, not like "I'm crazy about you" or like "I love being with you," but specifically, if I had an envelope full of cash and I needed someone to deposit it at the bank, I would give you that envelope of cash.
You're like the meteorologist at the one local news station whose forecasts I believe above all others.
And so then they go to his hotel room, which is kind of the evening portion of the date. And Robbie gives another big speech about, "I love you. I don't want you to have any doubts. This is forever." And then JoJo says, like, you telling me that you loved me, those weeks ago has really brought me to this place. Kind of reiterating again, like, you being in love with me is what I really like about you.
Yeah.
And then at some point, and I apologize, I don't have the context, but in the closed caption, I noticed, I looked up and it said, someone said, "I'm a heart virgin."
Robbie said that he was a heart virgin. And I also
didn't
missed
get
the context.
Yeah, I missed
this.
the context on that, and I feel bad, but I just thought it was worth mentioning.
It doesn't, but, I mean, here's the context.
So his heart has not been inside another woman's heart.
I think so.
Or man. Griffin, you're going to have to hang in there.
I just don't know why you would say that out loud. I don't know why you would say that out loud by yourself in a sewer, let alone in front of a camera on a very, very, very widely watched television program. Why would you say the words "heart virgin" out loud? Does that mean he's never been in love before? You had a girlfriend for like a wicked long time.
Yeah, that's
dog.
what it sounds like. Maybe he's never given his heart away like this before.
Is this a new like
You think this is a new lingo?
I'm saying like Sean was like what's the word? He's like a new virgin. What's the terminology he used for like he patched his
I mean, the phrase is usually born again virgin.
Okay. That just means like no sex for real this time.
Yeah, it means that you had sex and then now you've taken a vow.
Okay.
To not have sex.
What does heart virgin mean, Robert?
I don't know. I don't know, but do you want to get to the rest of the date?
At any point, does he throw shuriken and teach her how to throw shuriken? And like,
I don't even know what you're talking about right now.
like ninja stars. Well, I want to talk about the only thing I think is interesting about Robbie and that is my own fiction, that he's a stealth assassin.
Oh, spell that word you're saying.
Well, now you really put me on the spot, but SHURIKEN. Ninja stars is what we call them with our filthy tongue.
How do you know that word?
Video games?
Do you have a specific video game?
Shinobi?
Okay.
They made several Shinobi games as a ninja game. Also, Tenchu Stealth Assassins. I learned a lot about the ninja trade there.
So then they look at pictures.
Yeah, that's his gift to her.
He has really poor quality pictures printed that he gives to her.
Well, are they poor
look
quality,
through.
or can you just not see any of his family members because they are a ninja tribe?
No, it's not. It's pictures of the two of them together.
Oh.
It made me wonder because there were pictures all the way back to the football date.
It made you wander?
Wonder.
I missed one. Pablo, I think.
I am trying so hard to sing more on this show.
Oh, sorry.
And you keep missing your
me.
window. No, it's over now.
No!
Anyway, he had pictures going all the way back to the football date with JoJo.
I don't remember that.
You remember the football date
There
where
were 6.
James Taylor gets his face all smashed
I
in?
did like that one.
Robbie has a picture with him and JoJo there.
Who was taking these pictures? Who got these pictures to
Who was taking these pictures? Was she taking a picture with each one of the guys as a kind of contingency plan? Because later in the episode, Jordan also has pictures.
How does this happen, Bachelor?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. It's the
But
Bloids.
this is a thing that happens because this has been on previous seasons where the
Yeah.
contestant gives photos as a gift. Anyway,
Shitty gift still and forever,
not a great
though.
gift. So JoJo says that her love with Robbie is the type of love that she's been waiting for. And Robbie tells us, the viewer, that his only reserve about JoJo is that maybe he's
She's
blinded.
not gonna marry him, and he'll be very sad.
No, is maybe that he's blinded by his love.
His thing should have been my thing then. Mine was a way better concern, I would say. Of the two concerns, his concern
Jordan's
wasn't.
not exactly a worrier.
Oh, you're talking about Jordan.
Oh, no, sorry, I meant Robbie.
Yeah, no.
Robbie's not exactly a worrier. He never seems worried throughout this entire series.
Well, you can't tell that perfectly matte, beautiful, featureless skin. It doesn't show micro expressions the way that my normal, very flawed skin does.
Oh, Griffin, don't say that.
Well, it's true. I've got a very shimmery,
No.
sort of an ice cream paint job on my face. It shows a lot of my features.
You have
That's
a
what I'm saying.
baby
Like, look at me
face.
right now, and I'll make a micro expression, and you can like.
Yeah, well, that wasn't really micro. That was even more macro. These are the most macro expressions.
Hey, tell me about the next date, babe.
Jordan time.
Let's get that dick out.
Not that we get to see. Jordan does say this is our last date together before I'm maybe getting on a knee.
Which is awesome, bro.
And he's such stark contrast to Robbie. Robbie's like, I would not only propose right now, I would impregnate her, and then I would give our daughter away, and I would do all of that tomorrow if I could. And Jordan's like, I don't know. I might one day ultimately say possibly that I could spend potentially the rest of my life with her. Possibly.
What does Jordan do, though?
They are on a boat together.
Hey, dog, wherever they were, can we go to that? Because it was pretty as hell.
Yeah, it was. Well, first they're on like a large boat, and then they get in a kayak, and they like kayak through this cave. It's
And then
very
they come out of
nice.
the cave, and there's these beautiful little, what do they call like the mountains when it's just like a beautiful cylinder that comes up out of the ocean? Nobody knows. Nobody knows how to describe those land masses, but they're very beautiful. Indescribably beautiful.
Indescribably, yeah. Why even try to describe?
I mean, I did. I said they're beautiful little rock cylinders coming up out of the ocean.
So they sit on the beach, and we kind of know that it's coming, that JoJo will want to find out, why didn't you ask my dad? So as soon as they sit down on the beach, that starts.
JoJo actually gets ahead of it. He doesn't. He doesn't.
Yeah,
give
she
JoJo
doesn't
time
have to ask.
He says, "I just laid it all on the line that I love you, and I'm so into you, and I spend the rest of my life with you. And unfortunately, I just didn't ask." Okay, bud, why not? He does actually explain why not. It's because he doesn't want to do it without knowing what's going on in JoJo's mind, because there's another guy, and he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to ask her family because it would make her uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, her family didn't know what she wanted, so he didn't want to ask when they didn't know what her preference was.
Which it's a really, really circuitous, confusing thing. But it makes sense, dude. If there was another guy and me and this guy were both vying for your hand in marriage, and we both went to your parents to ask for your hand, that does put your parents in a really awkward position.
Well, and he does say too, he said, I went first. Robbie hadn't even met them yet. It felt weird to ask for permission before they'd even met the other guy.
And she said, the point she keeps trying to make and keeps getting interrupted by Jordan, he has a very aggro crag way of responding to conflict, is why do you give a shit about Robbie? Yeah,
well, and she was like, do you know how you feel about me? And he's like, yeah. She's like, well, then that's all that matters. And he's like, oh, well, if it were up to me, I would have done it. And she's like, well, but it is up to you. And it just becomes, I don't know, it's easy to see both sides of that.
Is there a case to be made for the fact that Jordan's continued reluctance throughout this entire show somehow makes his ultimate affection for JoJo and ultimate commitment to JoJo a bit more real deal Holyfield?
What, because he's been so cautious? The fact that he did it means something?
Because everybody says, dragged his heels the whole time, he doesn't seem excited to be there now that it's, happened. I think a case could be made for maybe it does make it a little bit more real. Because, otherwise, the dude who's, day one, I love you, I'll marry you right now. And then if that person ends up proposing to you, I don't know. That doesn't seem especially too legit.
Yeah, now I agree that Robbie kind of put me off in his just immediate willingness to be in love.
Yeah.
But Jordan also seems so restrained in a way that you aren't when you're really excited about somebody.
That's a better point, yeah. Even though he wasn't saying, I'm in love with you, I'm in love with you, I'm in love with you, I'm going to marry you, I'm going to marry you, I'm going to marry you. He never quite seemed so psyched to be there.
And he just he knows, he has to know the deal. He has to know that the kind of feedback he wants before he proposes is not the kind of feedback he's likely to get.
Yeah.
That's the show. So I get, yeah, in the real world, it would be weird to ask for permission for somebody that hasn't even said they love you yet. Yeah, that's a strange thing in the real world. But this isn't the real world. There's nothing about it that is logical.
I'm more into JoJo and JoJo than I thought I was going to be, but not much more. And I, honest to God, think the reason...
What would their couple name be?
JoJo. JoJo.
Okay, good. It's pretty. I like that.
JoJo. I'm just over this fucking photo finish, two-way tie to the end season of The Bachelorette, because it just makes it so much less, it makes it so much less believable in a way. The season where there's a kind of a clear front runner the whole time, and they're cute together, and then they get engaged, and then they are very happy. That, I don't know, that seems more real to me than that every fucking season has to be a neck and neck thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Until the end. Because it really, if you're new to watching this show and you watch this season and Ben's season, it didn't used to always be like this. Oh, geez, like Emily's season ended with her sending one dude home in the final episode before the end of the episode because she was so sure about the dude she wanted to be with. Like, that's kind of how the show used to be, in that there was a clear front runner who would run away with the thing. And maybe I'm misremembering, because I'm sure that had its own, like, it was predictable in a big way. But like this, they tried to do this neck and neck thing, but it was still ended up being very, very, very predictable. When we did a poll of everybody in the room right before the first person stepped out of the limo, like, okay, who's going to win? Everybody got it right.
Yeah.
Every single person in the room got it right. There were no... It was...
Yeah, no matter how many times they tried to kind of manufacture this uncertainty, everybody was like, it's Jordan.
It was the most
it's for sure
telegraphed.
Jordan.
And
Yeah.
if that's the case, then your neck and neck like narrative thing has failed catastrophically. And it just is so goofy. Anyway,
let's finish up. So after they do their little kayak date, they go to Jordan's room. JoJo pushes again, says, you know, you had enough time to meet me and to fall in love with me, but not enough time to ask my dad. And Jordan starts to seem like he really regrets not doing it. And Jordan's like, yeah, you know, I just always thought, like, if I were to propose, you know, and JoJo's like, well, you keep saying if you'll propose. And Jordan's like, oh, I love you and I don't want to lose you and I want to be on one knee in my life. That's what I mean, I promise. And you know, he tells us, he's like, oh, I'm so bummed that I let her down. And then their evening's kind of over, and it just feels like they're still not really getting closure on that. And at this point, JoJo seems really attached to this issue. And there just never seems to be any resolution.
which
to
two
it.
things. First of all, it was, I mean, an edit designed to make Jordan look very, very, very bad. Like, very, very, very bad. But also, the fact that she's asking those questions in the first place is like, she ain't asking Robbie those questions. She
Yeah, I know.
ain't checking on Robbie's bona fides.
Yeah. And then it's ring time with Neil Lane.
He's got a fucking
It's
painting.
ring time.
Is it ring?
Ring time with Neil Lane.
I think we did the Sega harmony there. Sega. That's
What-
beautiful though, baby.
Thank you. What is it that you call Neil Lane?
I called him an unwrapped mummy.
There you go.
It's just he's getting younger somehow. I think he's got a diamond somewhere that is sucking the years out of him.
And usually this is like a really nice moment where Neil plays the role of Chris Harrison and asks them how they feel about.
Except this
The
show's
woman-
got no daddies no more, does it?
Well, that's a really good way to describe
This
it.
show's got no more daddies.
Because the ring procurement goes very quickly. Each guy sits down,
Robbie's like, the fat one.
looks at a ring, picks a ring.
I heard a new reference to a jewel cut I'd never heard before, and it was like a pillow cut?
I don't know. I wasn't listening.
I think they said this is a pillow cut jewel. It's like, man, I just come up with new ones those all the time, huh?
I mean, they're very large rings.
They're very big. And I say this every year. I think they look so fucking goofy.
Yeah.
I think they look goof troop, these rings. And there were some people in the room tonight who agreed with me.
Yeah, no, there's nothing worse than a very large ring.
And then you do this character every year, this Coco Chanel character. Nothing's better than a bunch of diamonds.
And so that ends our segment.
Here comes my best friend, Tiffany.
That ends our segment.
Precious diamonds.
Ring time with Neil Lane. Ring time with Neil Lane.
You laughed out of it, but I finally found it there at the end. So really, that was
No,
on you.
it's my fault. I'm a little pitchy.
I'm sorry I don't buy you enough precious gemstones.
The segment's over, Griffin.
It's not a segment. With you, you demand new gemstones every day. I brought you an opal yesterday, and you're like, wrong. You guessed wrong. I wanted tourmaline.
And then you brought me a soft pretzel today.
I brought you a soft pretzel.
And I was still like, can you make this into a ring for me?
Instead of kosher salt on top, can you sprinkle it with topaz? I said, yeah, I guess. I'm sorry. Rachel eats gemstones for fuel. She loves diamonds and topaz.
And you make me sound like a...
You sound like
a 2016 Kyla.
Kyla. What? No, Kyla didn't eat gemstones for energy. She ate batteries.
So Jordan, who has expressed to us, the viewer, and JoJo, that he regrets not getting approval, is back in his room calling Dr. Fletcher to get that permission after all. And he gives this speech that is just very hurried and uncomfortable. And the family approves. And that's that.
Him and Robbie put on the same suit, which is fun.
And we see JoJo getting ready. She says she woke up this morning with a moment of clarity. And then goes outside, and there's a note from Jordan.
And a note from Robbie.
Well, first we see the note from Jordan. And Jordan...
But she picks up both notes, which is...
really?
Yeah, they were both under the same, flower pot or something.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're right.
Mail call!
And Jordan talks about his undying love, apologizes again for not getting permission, says that he has done so now. And JoJo says, oh, this is everything I wanted. And she starts crying.
She says, this is everything I wanted, but it feels wrong, she says.
Does she say that?
Yeah. Which is why... Nah, it shouldn't. It shouldn't.
Yeah, I had thought maybe she woke up and thought, you know what, Robbie's the one that's ready. I'm going with Robbie. And then she read the note from Jordan and was like, what?
Not how it happened.
Yeah, there's a note from Robbie. Robbie is basically out of words at this point and just says, love, forever... beautiful
He just
friendship.
puts in the script to Love Actually. The last 40 pages.
Love really is all around us. And then JoJo looks through the Jordan photos that are similar to the Robbie photos. And it's proposal time. And JoJo is in a very, very high-cut dress on the beach.
She looks amazing. By the way, there were some people in the FBG group talking some jazz about her dresses. If I see that kind of behavior, I mean, I don't know why anybody would talk about JoJo's dresses ever again. But if I see that kind of talk in the group ever again, you're gone. You're fucking gone, so. Because my wife gave me admin privileges to the Facebook group last week.
And Griffin is much more ruthless than me.
I'll kick a motherfucker out, especially if you talk about these beautiful dresses my gal JoJo has on. Because let me say this right now, because I don't want us to neglect talking about it before. I think JoJo is a phenomenal Bachelorette. I thought she was exceptional. I really liked watching her. I thought she brought vivaciousness and an energy to the program, to the proceedings that I liked. A lot of passion, a lot of emotion. I was into it. She was she was real.
I is probably a harder critic to win over. I don't love JoJo. I don't think she beat anybody out of their ranking.
I think she's my second favorite, right behind Emily.
Really?
Who
Why?
the fuck is she gonna...
Why? What is it that made her...
She was RILL, real. She wore her heart on her sleeve, and I saw her heart and I saw her sleeve, and I said, both those real.
I guess that's true.
I thought it was going to be Caitlyn. I think Caitlin's probably number 3 now. Caitlin's probably in number 2. I missed a lot of the older seasons, though, so I don't...
I guess I just wanted JoJo to be funny.
It's a hard ask.
Yeah, I guess so. Why? Because women aren't funny?
No, because this show, that is not... There hasn't been a funny Bachelor either. When you're in that role,
true.
you are fucking boring. Caitlyn is hysterical. In her season that she was on of The Bachelor, she was fucking hysterical.
No, why
and then
does that
she was the
happen?
Bachelorette, and they just did... Because you have to... There has to be a weird, seriousness.
They spend so much time trying to get us to fall in love with the suitors that we lose any opportunity to the Bachelor, Bachelorette. Like,
It's because they're a goal. They're like they are an object goal that you're
but why
supposed to be
can't
like.
you romance me on the Bachelor, Bachelorette too?
I think there's an assumption they already did that in the last season of the show.
I need more. I am a very, very hard woman to please.
Very true. And speaking of, I don't know. Now that we're at the end of the rainbow, I don't know who the fuck they got in the wings for the Bachelor, but
Yeah.
there's just.
Well, let's get to this proposal.
Okay, yes, please, let's do the proposal. Who steps out that first cab?
So the first person out of the limo is the person that is going to get rejected. And so we always see their shoes first. And we saw the very, very flamboyant socks of one Robbie Hayes.
I ain't hating on that though, because I got that foot cardigan.
Oh, I know. I love a flamboyant sock. So Robbie launches in, says, this is crazy, but it's a good kind of crazy. And my family adores you and my heart yearns for you. And this is a love that you only hear about in stories. You're my best friend. And she stops him and says, Robbie, I can't let you get down on one knee because I don't want to take that moment from you.
There's that axe man.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes they let him get all the way down on one knee and to get the ring out, and they say no. But she stops him, which I appreciate.
I appreciate that too. It's the first time that she's not holding it until the last possible millisecond.
And she says, I've been wanting it to be you, and my heart is broken.
Although that line keeps rearing its fucking ugly head, and for like the past 4 send-offs, I wanted it to be you.
Yeah.
That's a crazy thing to say.
And then she says she loves him, which I missed.
Okay, and now the Axeman facade drops. Although I don't know, even the Axeman said he loves you to the 2 final people. But you made JoJo Fletcher. You made it so far, not doing the thing that happened to you, dog.
She was in this position where she wanted him to realize that she was serious about him and that she really cared about him. And I get that. She doesn't want to think like, hey, I really tricked you. Haha, it's not you at all. She wanted to be like, no, I honestly had really strong feelings for you. Like, you were really my runner-up.
But last season was the season where the Bachelor said, I love you to 2 contestants. And then she was the one who lost that transaction and said, I'll never do that again. And then you didn't until literally the last possible minute, JoJo.
She's bad at rejecting people.
So bad. Because this is... You brought him up. You psyched him up there at the end, like while they were already on their way down. That was a weird play, bud.
So Robbie really keeps it together. He doesn't fall apart kind of the way that I was expecting him to. And they walk back to the limo and he gets in. And he seems kind of in shock about the whole thing. And it's kind of like, is this allowed to happen? Is this real? Like, is this really happening?
Yeah.
He's kind of in disbelief. So now it's Jordan's turn. Jordan is there at dusk, which is always a good sign.
It's like the least... You have to remember, when the person steps out of the limo and they see the sun directly over the head, they already know they've lost the television show The Bachelor or Bachelorette. It's the most... Think about it. Put yourself in the shoes of the people who've been poring over all day thinking about whether or not they've won, and then you step outside and it's fucking 11:30 a.m. You've lost the television show.
I thought it would be nice if Chris Harrison, when they're at the top of the stairs getting ready to go down, if Chris Harrison was like, all right, good luck, man. And by the way, it's not you. All right. She's waiting for you.
I think the only way I think a better way to do it is to put a fucking black bag over their head from the moment they wake up and put them in a deprivation chamber, and then she either dumps them or proposes to them in a perfectly windowless room without them knowing what time it is. That's
what
how you
day
get
is it?
That's how you get the real emotion.
How long have I been in
Everybody
here?
who's ever came in second place on this show fucking knew it before they told them. That's cold hard truth. If not, they were delusional because it was 11:30 when they got kicked off.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Jordan says, you're my best friend, you're my soulmate, and JoJo stops him and says, Jordan, just before you continue, I just want to say something that I've been wanting to say. I love you so much. And Jordan's obviously relieved, and then he immediately gets on one knee, and JoJo's like, oh, is this real? Is it? And Jordan says, it's been real, which I thought was kind of fun.
yeah.
And he proposes. She says yes. And then they give out the final rose. And
I got a little overclamped.
there's a sunset champagne toast. Did you really?
A little bit.
I think I got goosebumps a little bit. I had a goosebumps moment.
No matter how botched the delivery, and by delivery I don't mean like the proposal, I mean like the love story of the season is. It's there. I can't help but put myself in the shoes of either of the people in that situation, and that's nervous work, man. Like no matter how jaded you are about the realness of this show. They're really proposing to somebody on TV with a speech they've probably written themselves. That's nervous work, man. And they seem very relieved and happy to be done with it. And yeah, I was into it.
Yeah, I am not 100% confident in their relationship, but I believe that there's some real affection there.
I think there is too, and I think you saw it a bit more in the after the final rose.
Yeah, let's get to that.
And let's just get through it, please.
After the final rose, Robbie comes out first, and everybody in our group recognized he had new teeth.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I didn't notice that either, but apparently his front teeth are closer together now, and they think he has veneers.
I will say that was one of many, 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 many accessories that he had on this
Yeah,
night.
he was also wearing a pocket square and then like a little brooch. And a tie,
all three of which were seemingly made from the same fabric, which is like that's a lot, bud.
So Chris Harrison interviews him. He says that he's confused, but he's not angry. Says that she taught me the type of woman I want to end up with, and I respect Jordan. He's a great friend, and I just want her to be happy. So just like a classy guy. Said he's been like with his friends and family, kind of pulling himself together. Doesn't say anything about being ready to find love again, which makes me think maybe he
ain't gonna be it.
the next Bachelor.
I can't imagine, right? Like, I can't.
Nah, I know. He wouldn't. It's not his scene. JoJo comes out.
I feel like we've given Robbie a lot of shit this season. I think he's a nice dude, and I do think back to those first few episodes, and he was a funny, charming guy. It was just like this season was the odds were so against him, and he just didn't have an interesting storyline other than the guy who was ready to commit as a foil against Jordan, the clear winner's reluctance.
When Robbie had his kind of catching fire moment of like, now I'm a front runner.
It was
it didn't feel like I was ready for that to happen, and I never got ready.
Yeah.
It just seemed, well, it's probably nice that she has somebody that is so into her. That was kind of my reaction to it.
Yeah.
So JoJo comes out, and Robbie asks JoJo, why did you say that you loved me on our last day? And JoJo's like, I didn't want to discredit our relationship. I wanted you to know how I felt. And Robbie said, when we were talking, you said a lot of things that made it seem like it should have been us, that your family liked me and that you wanted it to be me. And JoJo says, well, my heart was always with Jordan, and I couldn't imagine saying goodbye to Jordan. And Robbie says, well, I just wanted you to be happy, and it seems like you're happy. And that's it.
That's it.
Not really fiery.
Nope.
Chris Harrison asked JoJo who should be the next Bachelor.
Then we get... all right, can I propose something?
Well, can I just, before you propose something,
No.
I just... All right. Go.
I think we should stop saying his name.
Okay. What should we say instead?
I've been thinking about this for a while.
Okay.
Because if we call him something like mean-spirited, like I think I called him a fuckneck.
Yeah, I don't want to bully him.
Well, I don't want to bully him either, but mainly just because I think he would get some sort of weird satisfaction out of it if he knew.
So what do we say?
I think we just give him like a boring wrong name.
Like he did to Grant on Men Tell All, and he was calling him like Daryl.
How do you feel about Dale? Or
I want it to be close enough that people aren't like, wait a minute, who's that?
But I do want people to be kind of confused.
What about Tad?
What about Ted?
Ted?
No, it doesn't. It's got to be. It also has to be like kind of a shitty name.
Tad's not good.
Tad's not great. Rod. Rod is good because it's also kind of a dick. You could also just go with Dick or Rick.
What about pastrami?
Why pastrami? Because he eats lunch meat?
Yeah.
Maybe. I kind of want to take it, but that adds to the lore. I want to remove all of that. I want to strip him of everything.
All right. What you said? Rod?
Rod.
Let's do Rod. I just want to keep going.
Okay. We'll do it with Rod, and if we think of a better one, we'll change it.
Okay.
That could also be the thing. We just call him a new name every week, and we sub it out.
Okay. That won't get confusing.
Do we want to say his name for one last time so people know who the fuck we're talking about?
No, people will know.
All right, yeah.
Okay, so...
The meat one.
Okay, so... Chris asks JoJo who should be the next Bachelor. And JoJo says, I don't know, maybe Luke or Chase seem kind of like the possible picks.
Chris pulls the audience very quickly, and when she says
Luke... he
Luke...
says, hey, Luke or Chase?
It sounds like everybody says Luke.
The whole audience is like, Luke! And then Rod stands up. And JoJo's like, oh no, not Rod. Definitely not Rod. And Rod...
And this fuckneck, this dude...
Rod gives like a small speech from the audience. He's there because the whole Bachelor in Paradise crew is there. And Rod says... With
this tone of earnestness that is literally he has never had before.
He's like, I've lived a long life.
Shut up.
My mom passed away 6 months ago. I'm a Marine. And I just think, I deserve a shot at love too. And there's a few claps in the audience.
He says, I think I should be the next Bachelor.
Yeah. And there's a few claps in the audience. Chris Harrison is like not into it.
Nah, Rod.
He's like, oh, maybe we'll see after Bachelor in Paradise. And then he uses the word train wreck. He said it's truly a train wreck. And references that.
The line that
the
Rod
mimosa
says
line.
about the mimosa thing.
Yeah, that Chris Harrison.
This whole night has been punctuated. Every single commercial break has a Bachelor in Paradise promo. And I think there's a different one in each commercial break.
One of the promos is that Rod confronts Chris Harrison about Chris just drinking mimosas in his hotel room.
In each one, it's like fucking black and white, like nightmare music, and like the words Rod appeared
just
in lightning.
continue to be awful.
Like, oh, fuck, man. I can only hope that Rod gets it booted fast, because he's a piece of shit. I know, baby, we're so close.
Okay, so there's more interview for JoJo. Chris asks how she's been doing, and she says that it's been difficult, and they haven't gotten as much positive support as they expected, and that since they haven't been able, her and Jordan haven't been able to be open about their relationship. They haven't been able to defend each other. And then Jordan comes out, says that they're doing great. She's wearing the engagement ring, which they're both excited to be out in public.
She's also wearing a fun dress that in and of itself kind of looks like a pretzel knot on the front. I was into it.
JoJo doesn't seem like giddy happy. She just kind of seems tired.
And, well, they also seem relieved more than anything, I would say.
Yeah, just like, now we're finished with this.
Yeah.
But JoJo says they have a mutual respect, and that throughout this process it's been hard, but they did never talk about breaking up. Then Chris shows some of the tabloids up on the screen that have come out since the show aired. And they're saying, we can't control what people say about us. And then they showed the People magazine that'll come out tomorrow. And the pulled quote from JoJo is, I know I can trust him. Which is just kind of a sad pulled quote.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, believe in us, guys.
Trust is so important.
Yeah. So they say they've been throwing around some dates for a wedding.
Sometime next year.
And
Chris comes in at one more time to see if he can get some info about Aaron.
Chris just tries the Aaron Rodgers button again.
Actually, Jordan's deflection was like really kind of weird. Chris basically asked him like, have things improved between you and Aaron? Has anything changed? And he said, so now me and JoJo's families get together so well, and we're about to start our own family, and we're just really, really excited about, doing this thing with our families.
Yeah, and so Chris tries JoJo.
He's like,
Have you met her? Or like, have you met Aaron Rodgers yet? And JoJo's like, no, I mean, the situation is the same as it was before.
We have other things to worry about. And Jordan says, we got to buy furniture.
Yeah.
Jordan.
Yeah, I get they don't want to talk about it. I respect that.
I do too, but say that. Don't do this, the weirdest deflect. Have you made up with your brother yet? Psh, I can't. I have to buy furniture. What?
Yeah. And then Ben and Lauren from last season are in the audience, and they offer some advice.
Oh my God. I just realized when Bachelor in Paradise goes off the air, that's what is going to be on ABC, is the Ben and Lauren show. Ben and Lauren, happily ever after, question mark? Seems like they are, yes.
And Chris says, all right, hang around, guys. We still have one more thing. And I'm like, how is this still going? We come back. Chris says, as a gift, we're sending you back to Nemacolin, Pennsylvania.
Nemacolin, Pennsylvania. And JoJo's like, fuck yes, Nema. That might be like my favorite JoJo moment of the whole season, is JoJo gets psyched out of her mind.
Like,
fuck yes, Nemacolin.
I love Nemacolin.
Nemacolin. I will say this. I'd go to Nemacolin. Look beautiful.
And then we get some final teasers for BIP, which starts... Well, I guess when this airs, it will start tonight.
I can't believe it. Do we want to get into happening that bib teaser? Because there are a few. There were a few like.
We'll be talking about it though tomorrow.
Let's just say there are a few pairings that I find quite agreeable, and some I find disagreeable.
Yeah, you were excited about Jared and
Kyla 001. I was very excited about Wells and Ashley.
Yeah, why is that exactly?
Because I want her to find somebody, Rachel. I got 2 eyes and a heart. Wrap-ups for the season of JoJo. I thought it was... I thought there were some high points. I didn't think there were a lot of low points. I mean, honestly, the only thing that put like a bad taste in my mouth was the not so much the Chad being on the show thing, because like God knows they've had like genuinely bad people on the show before, but the ABC's lionizing of him, like, it was so gross.
You did just say his name.
Fuck, $20 in the swear jar.
I liked the time that we got to spend with Luke and with Wells.
Yeah, I like those boys. I think Luke would be a decent Bachelor. I mean, the field is not especially competitive in that department, I don't think, if we're taking boys from this season, unless it is Wells, which would be sick, but that's not going to happen. Yeah, there were some high points, there was some entertaining stuff that happened, and then I would say, especially towards the end, there was a lot of just sort of plateau, although that is kind of the curve for every season of this show.
Yeah, the past few seasons, there's been a clear front runner from almost like episode 1, and then you just kind of ride that train all the way to the end.
Last season, I think, bucked the curve a little bit, because I think their selling of JoJo as somebody who could come and usurp Lauren B was like really,
yeah, but we were sure it
really
was
strong.
We were sure it was Lauren B for like 90% of the season.
Yeah, except for that last episode where they actually they did this like curveball and it fucking worked.
Yeah, it was pretty deft work, but
yeah, it was good stuff. I would say it was a fairly good season. I'm not. I know there are a lot of folks who listen to the show who'd never watched the show before, and this was their first season to watch. I think you got a very standard season of The Bachelor. There was a villain. There was a romantic front runner. There were a lot of goofball.
There were some
people.
piss kids.
There were a lot of piss kids. A lot of rat bags. I have no idea what the next Bachelor is.
A lot of singing this season. A lot more singing than usual.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. And
few Jameses.
A mess of Jameses. And I hope Bip is fun and not
People
like,
have been,
ethically horrible.
People have been asking if there's a way to do a BIP fantasy league. There might be. We have never even tried to do it.
I mean, a drinking game is more appropriate for BIP. If you want to come up with one of those, I'm into it.
There has been some stirring on the Facebook group about a drinking game. I think there's a lot of potential there, but I don't know exactly what to recommend.
Yeah. I think that's it. We'll see you fucking tomorrow. Can we just wrap up?
I'm Rachel
I'm
McElroy.
Griffin McElroy.
When you're ready.
I'm not ready.
Final rose. Stay with us on this journey of joy.
Spoiler alert.
She ends up with Soldier Boy.
Right reasons, right reasons.